What is going on, guys? Frankie Trades here, bringing you another new weekly stock watch list. Before we get started, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. And without much being said, let's go ahead and dive into the watch list. So, as far as earnings week goes for this current week, there is not too much going on. So, the only stocks that I'm really keeping an eye out for would be CrowdStrike on Tuesday after close, and then CRM and Snow, who report on Wednesday after close going into Thursday morning. So Crowd obviously going into Wednesday morning, and then CRM and Snow going into Thursday morning. See what kind of move both of those, or all three of those stocks have altogether. So those are going to be the most interesting ones. Snow is probably my most favorite one because that usually has the best liquidity of those two. So that's why I would be keeping an eye out for Snow. And with where it's currently sitting at, that could give it a push up to where it needs to go, especially with a high demand with chip, data, and a lot of cloud space. That could be a reason why Snow could have a really good earnings this current week. So we'll just have to wait and see. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go into the watch list, which I know some of you are really waiting for. First things first, we're going to talk about the indexes. Of course, we always start with these because these give us a bigger picture of what is going on in the current market. So as far as NQ and ES, they're both pretty straightforward. You guys know I don't like chart super in-depth going into a Monday morning, just because anything can happen overnight, despite futures already being opened up. So first level that I'm watching on NQ would be at 25,800 to the upside, and then after that would be 26,000. After that, there's really not too much left to really look at. As far as any downside goes, I don't have anything charted or plotted for that because it's all pretty choppy down there. Really, the only big levels that I see are to the upside, and that's what we're currently edging towards from the trend we had this current week. So that's what I have on NQ. Next up is ES. If I go to ES here on the daily as well, you guys can see that the downside is pretty choppy as well. There is no clear indication of anything really. So realistically, to the upside, I'm looking at anything on ES above 6,900 with all of, 6,900, and then looking at 6,953, which is the all-time high. Again, I'm not going to go super in-depth because we're 50 points away from that important level, and then as far as any downside goes, there's really not too many big things going on. So upside's the most clear that it will get. There is no current bottom for the meantime. That could change in the future in this week. Who knows, right? If you're part of Stock Hours, we update you guys every single morning with that. So that's ES and NQ. Really, the only stocks I have to talk about this week are going to be Google and Apple. Apple is going to be the better one of the two, but Google here, I think this is something worth watching and putting on everyone's watch list. The only thing I will say, though, is I am not interested on this towards the downside. So the thing that I'm looking at is the consolidation it's currently creating. It's in a 4-day consolidation from, you can see the days right here, right? So as far as Google, downside would be around 317. I think that's just something I'm going to get screen time on. And then as far as the upside, which is what I'm really interested on because Google tends to drive really well on all-time highs and just high plays in general, I'm looking at 331 for an entry. Target would be realistically 333 on something like this and anything above that. But for me and how I like to trade, a lot of you guys know I like to scalp. Realistically, you'd probably look for 331.50 or even 332. I don't think I would hold all the way up to 333. I think that's just something I would scalp on my own. So that's what I have on Google. And then the best setup we have for the week is Apple. Now, Apple has actually been creating a pretty nice consolidation, and it's actually been holding up really well compared to some of the drawbacks that the market has had recently. So you can see here that we have created a consolidation below 280. That is the current level that I'm currently watching. All-time high is at 285. So we have a lot of room on this, on Apple. So really, there's not too much more going on with this, really. Realistically, like I said, it's really just a consolidation breaking around 280. We did tuck around this 279.60 area during our charting session. This one's just going to depend on how we come up on Apple. If the market's weak and Apple's showing a lot of strong sentiment, that could be a reason why we take an earlier entry on Apple. Or maybe we just keep it simple. Maybe you just want to play the 280 level and just keep things really simple and straightforward. You can always do that as well. There are a lot of ways you can trade Apple and a lot of ways you can trade these setups. It just depends to what you're comfortable with and what you're willing to risk on your own setups, your own trading style, and all that, right? So this watch list is pretty short, though. That is all I have. Nothing on Tesla, nothing on NVIDIA. All those stocks are pretty dry for the current moment with where they're currently sitting at. And a lot of those stocks we can really, with how versatile those stocks can be traded, really we can trade those at any time. So if those present anything tomorrow morning, on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, whatever day morning at this point, you guys know we'll capitalize on it. For anyone who is part of the community, you guys know we cover those stocks every single day, despite if they don't have any setups, because those can always come up with something during intraday. So you never know. But yeah, that's about it for the watch list, though, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Before you go, though, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your holidays and have a safe week. Peace out.